Okay, now we're going to get a little bit into people's heads with gaming and what makes you happy when you're gaming, what keeps you happy playing games, and not throw a controller at the wall and then continue playing that game, maybe. Or if you did throw the controller at the wall, you didn't play the game. Are you addicted? Are you addicted, or are you actually enjoying the experience? These are what we're asking today.
Keep calm and don't throw the controller.
Yes.
No, it's got nothing to do with an addiction. It's got to do with you get disappointed with yourself. Like, that's how I get when I'm playing Battlegrounds and I failed. Like, say we're in a firefight and I have the opening to keep you guys from getting killed and win that firefight, and I screw it up hard. I feel bad about it because I'm competitive and I feel like I failed the team. Mm-hmm. That's what gets me agitated. But I'm not. It's not like it's an addiction to playing it. It's more of a I like to challenge myself with these games.
Well, first of all, we have a lot of fun playing it, and it's even more fun when you're working as a team. And you know, we have a blast doing it. And when you screw up, when you, me, him, or whoever screws up, we're like, damn, I let them down. Like that one time, I'm like, oh, it's my fault. I apologize for doing whatever I did. You know.
Yeah.
But it happens. But yeah, it's just I enjoy it, like especially like with PUBG and stuff. Yeah. But then there's other games that are just like a grind.
Yeah. No, that's very true. So we'll start back at like old Atari games down to now, okay?
All right.
Back a long time ago during Atari, it wasn't so much because there wasn't like really an end game scenario in those kind of games. It was score. Mm-hmm. So it was who could get the best score, and that's what kept you playing and kept you enjoying the game. Nowadays, we have a very big variety, and obviously the number one market, like we showed right now for gaming, which has 36% of the market, which is mobile phones. Right now in gaming, and these are what I would consider addicted games. These are not what a lot of us like gamers from years ago are at norm to, because of the addicted mentality. And we've heard the term, what do you call it, injection of dopamine, and that's kind of what they do. Games like Candy Crush and stuff like that, they give you like this very short high.
Oh, you mean mobile games?
No, yeah, not all mobile games, because I don't want to put them all in the same basket. But there is.
But they all belong in the same basket.
No, there are some very different types of games. Those games like Candy Crush and stuff, though, those are the addicting ones that just keep you there playing and give you like this, like kind of short high, but you never really get anything out of it.
Yeah, like right now, just for the heck of it, I downloaded this. You know, remember NES Micro Machines?
Yeah.
Well, they brought out a new Micro Machines game for the mobile.
Okay.
And it's one of those. Oh, get these gems and do this and do this. I never put any money towards it, but I'm playing the little Micro Machine, you know. It's like, oh, cool. And they're like, oh, there's a whole G.I. Joe mode, but you got to play for like years before you get to that level.
Oh, jeez.
But yeah, it's fun. It's just a quick thing to do, but you want to keep going. Oh, I want another pack so I can get more parts to unlock more cars, you know. But
and this gets to your addictive mentality, and this is what they're subject to. Now, well, I'm going to bring up a game that we all distinctly know right now, Breath of the Wild, and other games like Skyrim. Now, these games, when you start to play them, like Breath of the Wild, it becomes an immersion. You feel like you're a part of that game. It's not so much you're addicted to keep on playing it. You feel like you're on an adventure, you're a part of that world, and you're having a real experience. And it's the same things, the same chemicals that are getting released in your brain is when you're bonding with like a good friend or a mother with a newborn baby. It's those chemicals that are reacting at that moment that are really bonding you with something and having a wonderful experience and not an addictive experience. I think we lost Grim. Anyway, so like for instance, like when we play Battlegrounds. When we play Battlegrounds, Grim, we're working as a team, yes, but we're actually also like bonding.
Hold it. We're not
bonding
working
as a team as well.
We're not working or bonding as a team. You don't like to listen to us.
Okay. Besides that,
yeah.
Besides that, though, we're going out into a field. It's a virtual, it's a virtual world. But we're still going out and having our own adventure, and we're bonding with this game and bonding with each other. So those chemicals in our brain are not the addictive chemicals that are being released during like Candy Crush and any other games. It's a different kind.
Those games are like mindless games. You know, Candy Crush. You just go, okay, now I gotta wait like a day to unlock
understand
stuff.
where this distinction comes in between that like you're like not you didn't. All mobile games do that, except for the ones that are remakes of console games that are just being put on mobile. Like every single mobile game is that, with the exception of like the re-releases of Final Fantasy and stuff. I don't understand. Like, I get that you're trying to be nice to mobile gamers, but that's the truth. They're all built to be that way, and I don't understand why we're distinguishing between them.
I would say
unless you're getting
80,
a re-release, they're all built that way.
I would say a good 80% yes are like that.
More like 99.
No.
You name me one game that isn't a remake that doesn't have those hooks in it.
I can't remember the name of the exact game, but it was like a zombie survival game, and that's all it was. At 6 levels, and it was a first-person shooter, and it was pretty fun. It didn't have any like crazy, oh, you have to pay this much. Once you got through the 6 levels, that was it, and I had a lot of fun. It was a fairly short game, but I had fun playing it.
There's actually
It's
there's
more
several
like a demo.
there's several Grand Theft Auto type clone type games, and which are the graphics are pretty damn good. And there's several it's called like Modern Combat. There's like
Those are not that bad. I played
there's
the
like
first
5
two.
of them out, and they're not like DLC pay per use games. They're actually full games. They're not bad, but it's something to play on your phone.
Yeah, they're not bad.
And I'm going to look it up right now because I know, because that's how they make their money.
Yeah, and there's been more than a few actually RPGs that are actually, some of them are actually even RPGs that were made on RPG Maker that were ported to Steam and then eventually ported to the phone.
That's interesting.
I just said those, not counting remakes, because
No,
those
we're
were
not-
built
we're not-
to not be that kind of game.
We're not talking
and
about
then
remakes,
port
but
it over.
but on the new versions of RPG Maker, there's actually a section to port it to mobile now.
Not the
But
not
those are
RPG
not-
Maker games that they made off
point
of
is-
it.
The point is, those are not mobile games. Those are games put onto mobile, but they were not made to be mobile games. That's the distinction. Mobile games are literally gotcha games,
Well-
and then the games that are built to put that they can then put on mobile are different.
Well, what
Like
about
when
games
someone
like,
makes a Final Fantasy game and then just releases on there.
what about Final Fantasy Dimensions, which was the only Final Fantasy that was made distinctly for mobile, and it's fairly good.
But if you look at it, you can clearly tell it's not a mobile game. They sat down and said, make a game that we can play on phones in the style of our games we normally make.
And that's what we're talking about. There
Yeah,
are
those
people
are the
that do
good
that.
ones.
Those are the good ones.
Yeah, but when you think about how many are out, it's like 90% are not, because the number is huge to how many mobile games. Like every day, like 100,000 mobile games come out.
Yeah. No, but
So
like,
if you
okay.
look at the damn numbers, you realize that it's not like 80%. It's like 95% are gotcha games, and then every couple of weeks you'll get one that isn't a gotcha game.
Yeah. So back on the subject of what makes you happy, Bazinga, what really keeps you playing a game? Like an hours, like, and I don't mean an indicative way.
Anger, hatred.
If I'm playing a single player game, it's the story.
What's the
And
story?
I want to progress. Like we were talking the other day about, you really enjoy open world games
Yes.
and side quests. I personally am not a big fan of side quests because most of the time it's just like a grind or something you do to get more experience or more points or something like that. I'd like to just I enjoy semi-linear games because I just want to continue with that story, find out what happens next. I don't want to go do something on the side and unlock this thing for I'm gonna go unlock this door for Fred over there and get $500 extra. I could care less. I just wanted to know the story.
Yeah.
That's why I like the linear game. That's why I enjoy like the Call of Duty story and stuff like that, because it's straight on campaign and oh man, all this crap's happening. I don't like, oh, you gotta go over here and then you gotta go over there and then you gotta go back.
Well,
It's just annoying.
Well, that's
to
how
me.
you see it. I
Yeah.
think Grim will see what I mean. So, me and Bazinga were talking the other day. I like the idea of an open world game. I like to be able to go where I want, and this is why Final Fantasy X pissed me off so much, because I wouldn't finish it because of it. Because I want to be able to write my own story and be able to tell my own story as I'm playing a game, because I'm the person having the adventure. The game's not having the adventure. I'm having the adventure. Now, wouldn't you agree with that, Grim?
No.
No? What was that?
No, not at all, because I'm in the middle.
Okay.
I don't like open world games completely, and I don't like linear games. I think that open world games like Skyrim cheap out on the depth. And what I mean by that is, like, you take Xenoblade Chronicles.
Well,
And you
I
look
mean
at how-
games like Xenoblade.
Hang on. That combat system in that game is ridiculously deep, and the story is ridiculously deep.
Yeah.
Then you look at Skyrim, and they have this beautiful world where you can do whatever you want, and NPCs living out their lives, and it's all cool, right? But the story is so forgettable because they don't focus on that at all, and the combat system is a freaking joke. Like, no matter what you do, no matter what weapons you get, it's just basically the same thing over and over again in the combat in a Skyrim game.
Yeah.
Like, and they get all these praise because of how amazing their open world is, and I'm like, there are other games, like, what do you mean open world? Guess what? Every Final Fantasy game till 10 had an open world you could travel and explore.
Yeah, the two examples
why is it suddenly, like, an amazing new thing? The only thing that's happened is that the open world has killed the combat system and the storytelling in these games because they focus too much on making the world live and breathe, and they don't focus enough on making the characters live
and getting, like, the award for the biggest map in gaming so far, you know?
Yeah, and like, I'm not saying Skyrim's a bad game, but I'll tell you right now, if you take someone with an open mind, play Skyrim and play Xenoblade, by the time they get done, they're going to go, all right, Skyrim, I was the Dragonborn, and I had to kill a bunch of dragons, and there was this one particular dragon. That's all they're going to remember about the story. And they're going to go, the combat was always kind of the same. I built my guy this way. Then they're going to talk about Xenoblade, and they're going to bring up, like, a good 15 different story beats because they focus on the storyline enough to make you fall in love with the characters and want to follow the storyline.
Yeah, well, the two games that stand out to me always as far as open worlds are Final Fantasy VI and Final Fantasy VII. Because those side quests in those games would literally, in some aspects, change how you end up playing that game.
Dude, forget the side quest. Like, I don't care how much you love Skyrim, you still will never get the feeling you got the first time you step out of Midgar in Final Fantasy VII.
Oh, yeah,
because your mind just blows when you realize how big that world is. And in Skyrim, you're just like, oh, it's just another open world game. Because they never distinguish themselves. They're just really good games, but they don't distinguish themselves at all.
Or the fact that Final Fantasy VI with Shadow, if you actually do all the side quests, he doesn't kill himself. And he joins you in the end.
I thought it was you just had... No, it's not that you have to do the side quests. You get to choose to wait for him. You could skip all the side stuff, and as long as you wait long enough, he'll show up to the plane. That's what it was.
No, he blows up with it if you don't go to all the ends.
No. I just played this. They have a timer. Remember, it's like a 7 or 8 minute timer to get off the island.
Yeah.
No matter what you do, no matter what, you could skip all that crap. But when you get to that point, if you wait on the plane until the timer's almost up, he'll show up. If you don't wait, he dies. And then you never get him back if you don't go out and visit all those inns and follow and find where he is in the Coliseum.
Yeah,
so you have to do a bunch of side stuff to get him back.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
You don't have to do any side stuff to save him. You just have to be there and wait long enough. And I can't wait. I gifted that to Alex because it was on sale for like 99 cents and she hasn't played it. I cannot wait for someone that I know that's new to these games that hasn't played this game to get there. And I want to see her mind explode when they destroy the planet.
Oh, yeah, that was awesome.
To replay the whole entire world. I want her, like, she's going to flip. And then to tell her, did you save Shadow? And she'll be like, what?
Yes.
I cannot freaking wait.
Oh, man. I had to play through that game again just because I wanted to save Shadow after I beat it. I was like, damn it.
That game.
Oh, that was such a good game. I couldn't believe it when the world blew up. Oh.
Don't get me retro on that.
It was like starting the game over and you're like, what happened? Like, everybody's dead.
The Japanese RPGs always had an open world. They just opened as you played them. So by the time you got to like the middle of the game, you could travel wherever you wanted to go. And the reason why that works so well is, again, they focused on like a linear path at the start to give you a story. They still opened up. So like, take, for example, every Dragon Quest game. You get to the first major town, and there's a chunk of area for you to explore, but you can't really move past that because you'll get killed by the monsters. Now, you could say that's linear, but eventually you get to go anywhere you want in that world and do whatever you want. Yeah. It's just they tunnel you until it spreads out so that you get hooked on the story and the world and the characters you're playing. And they don't do that in these open world games, and that's why I find most of them bad. I like Horizon Zero Dawn. I bounced straight off it. I got to start playing it again because I haven't played it in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Well, I thought it was cool, but I bounced straight off.
Well, Breath of the Wild did the same thing. Like, they kept you in that little circle, and then as soon as they thought you knew enough, they're like, okay, you can go anywhere you want. You can go to Ganon if you want.
That game was like a...
I know, I liked it, because no matter where you went, you got a piece of the story.
That game was a conundrum to me, because that game was a very open world with very little focus on the story unless you find those cutscenes, and yet I was still hooked because the world design was so good that I felt like I was learning the story myself. Like when I came across that field of dead ancients, I felt like I had learned a piece of it. I was like, all right, so this is Hyrule Barracks. This must have been when the final battle took place and where Ganon killed off the army. They're his guardians. All right, this makes sense. So that is like an anomaly, because that was an open world game without a very good focus on story, but still had you hooked like the story existed.
Yeah. So that was a great example. That Breath of the Wild is a perfect example of a game that keeps you playing and immersed in a real adventure.